Hello friends, my name is Theo, and today in this exciting MiesnerMedia tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at how to use frequency separation inside of Photoshop. I've gotten a lot of requests for how to do this in DaVinci Resolve, and truth be told, I've never gotten it to look good in DaVinci Resolve, but it always looks good in Photoshop, so here we go. Photoshop, I've got this image of lovely Miss Page here, and you can see she doesn't, her skin's totally fine, but if we want to make her look like a Target ad, we can use some frequency separation. So frequency separation's claim to fame is that you can smooth out the colors while leaving in some of these more finer detail things. So how we do that is we duplicate our layer twice with Control J, hide this top one on this bottom one, go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and then set it to something where the detail is just barely coming through. So normally I set it around, 2.5-ish for my camera and stuff. But, play around. Lower resolution images will need lower radiuses. High resolution images will need higher radiuses. Hit OK. Then that's all good. Then you turn on your layer above that. Go to Image, Apply Image. And then you'll change your layer to, in my case, it is Background Copy 2, because I may or may not have played around with this beforehand. Then make sure your scale is set to 2 and your offset is set to 128. What this 128 does is it makes your background gray, because if you just normally subtract a layer, it'd be 0. So when you set it to 128, that'll make it easier to blend together in our next step. So hit OK, and there we go. Then change our blend mode to linear light, and I can see the image looks pretty much the same because we're just sort of overlaying the detail on this. But now if we go down to this, we can call this blur, our blur layer. We will be able to take our lasso tool with L, and then make sure that your selection has some feathering. 10 normally works pretty well for me. But once again, higher resolution images will need higher feathering. Lower resolution images will need lower feathering. So you're just going to go ahead and select areas that are all pretty similar. So we've got a forehead. We can get a nice big area here. Then go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur again. And now you can set this up to a little bit higher. You can see 0, that's what we look like. And I'll zoom in a little bit more. So we can see on the YouTubes, go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. So you can see as we raise this up, we still have these little fine details in here, but our colors behind it are getting all blurred to heck. So what I like to do is I like to set this, sort of a little bit lower than I might want it. So, maybe 5 pixels. And then go and select another little area. You can hit Control F to just apply that same blur again. And then if we need more blur, hit Control F again. So that way we don't have to be going through menus the whole time. And you can add a keyboard shortcut to Gaussian blur, which I've seen some people do, but I don't use this technique a lot, so I just do it this way by hitting Control F a lot. Now if you make a little bit too much in your selection, you just hold down Alt, cut that part out, and then Control F and Control F. There we go. And now this is pretty easy to overdo, and I'm probably going to end up overdoing it because this is a tutorial and I'm just sort of, riffing away. But you can see it goes pretty quick. You can just select areas that are pretty much alike. And, it's kind of fun, especially your first times, because you're like, man, this sure looks cool. But like I said, it's very easy to overdo it. So we'll call that good enough. Just really basic. You can see before and after, and I'll go 1 to 1. So that's Control and then 1 to go to pixel to pixel. And you can see this is definitely too smooth for my taste. So if you want to fix that, you can either hit Control J and just sort of, bring your background layer back on top, or the fancier way, add a little layer mask to your blur layer, then hit B and just sort of paint out the areas that are a little bit much. And I like to have my flow set pretty low for this, which is like opacity but different and fancier. So you can see as I just paint in a little bit extra detail, and then since it's on a layer mask, if you want to take it back away, you can. So that's why it's okay to sort of overdo it at first, because you can always go back and refine your spots there. So we'll call that good. Make sure that we're at 1 to 1, and then you can see before and after, we've got everything all nice and smoothed out. So frequency separation is just that simple in Photoshop. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you liked it, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. No matter what, leave your feelings down in the comments below. Be sure to share this video with your friends, because this is such an easy way to make your photos look really expensive. Also, be sure to subscribe to the MiesnerMedia YouTube channel if you want even more good stuff like this that teaches you how to make stuff look expensive. If you want a cheap way to make your stuff look expensive without having to do any learning, go check out MiesnerMedia.com/products, where we have the House Let's Pack and the Carnival Power Grades pack. And especially interesting to you Photoshop people, we have a free texture pack and a free stills light leak pack. So something I do a whole lot, probably too much, is add lens junk stuff. So let's call that good for now. I'll bring this above our image, scale it way out, and flip it, and scale it up. Since it's just a little overlaid part, it doesn't really matter that it's scaled a little bit too much. Then I'll go to screen, and whoa, look how magical that looks. And if you want to tone it down, you don't want to lower the opacity because that just sort of makes it look like you lowered the opacity. It's much better to use like a levels or a curves adjustment and then just crush down the blacks a little bit more. And that makes it look a little bit more real, which is always cool. Look at that. Pretty neato. Pretty neato. So before and after. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So for the stills people out there, there's a free stills pack. If you're a motion person and you want to put those on your videos, there is a paid version, all 4K, and there's a 1080 version for a little bit cheaper. I've rambled on long enough. Once again, I've been Theo with MiesnerMedia. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.